Hi guys, I'm Jim and this is Jim's Fix-A Shop, and finally I'm going to get back on my 2012 Snapper, and maybe come spring I'll have it out in the yard. But today we're going to put the back tires on it, and I'm going to show you how I thread the cable up through the tube to get it to the front pedal. So the first thing I want to do is we're going to use some of this lovely stuff here, anti-seize, and we're going to put some on the axle. Grab a screwdriver here to turn this thing with. Maybe I'll keep from getting it all over me. Kind of doubtful. I don't think you can use this stuff without getting it all over you. It is a good product though, and you're going to want to use it. Now we'll spin this on here. Put my tapered bolt in and the nut. Now you're going to need a 1/2-inch socket to tighten this nut up with, and probably a pair of pliers to hold the tapered end, because that's a self-locking nut and they don't always want to go on without slipping. A 1/2-inch socket doesn't fit on that nut very well because of all the thick paint that they have on it. Now in a previous video I talked about these studs that I use just to help get the tire on. Now we're just going to slide this thing over here, make it a little easy to put on the tire. Now with them studs in there, the bolt lines right up in the hole. That's got to be the best thing I ever come up with. Get one bolt in, take one of the studs out. You don't have to have them threaded in very far. Now if you want, you can put anti-seize on these bolts, but I've never had a problem with them not wanting to come out, so I don't use it. Now don't forget, if you have an older machine, you have to put your hubcap on first before you put your tire on. Now to use this, got a 3/4 inch socket, a 6-inch extension to get down inside the tire. Right now I'm just going to snug them up. I'll torque them in later. Now I'm going to go around and do the other side, and I'll be right back. Oh heck, might as well let you watch me do this one. Again, we're going to glue this thing up good with some anti-seize. Now I'm not really sure if you can put too much of this stuff on or not. I guess it depends whose machine it is. If you're working on the customers, I'd say glue that baby up good, just so he doesn't have any problems down the road. I usually twist that on there, kind of helps spread the stuff around. Put that tapered bolt in there. And of course I got this stuff on my thumb. And we'll tighten her up. Gonna have to hold it. Now you don't have to reef them down too hard because they are self-locking nuts. Now we need a 3/4 inch socket again. And we'll try to get this thing back up on the table. This could be interesting, getting this tire on here. Well, not bad with them studs in there. And the last one. Now in a minute I'll show you how I get the cable for the clutch and brake threaded up through that tube up to the brake pedal. Let's switch sides. Now we're going to thread this cable up through the front. Now some of your older cables, they all have these ferrules on here. This is how you adjust your clutch after you expand or contract the frame to tighten the belt on the mower deck. You got to get that tightened first before you can adjust your clutch. Now some of the older cables didn't have this little ferrule crushed on it, so when you were trying to feed your cable up through your tube, all these little adjusting ferrules ended up back here by the engine. These cables are much nicer. If you have an older style, wrap a piece of masking tape or duct tape around the cable to hold it. Now to get the cable through the tube, out this hole in the top, and where I want it through here, I'm going to use a string. Now I'm going to put this through here, and then I'm going to stick the string in this hole and push it, or pull it, I should say, through the tube. How am I going to do that? With the help of my vacuum. I've got a Sears shop vac here, and this is going to get noisy. I have a tapered attachment on the end of the hose that fits right inside of that pipe, and that is going to suck the string right through that tube. Plug your ears. Did you see it go? It's gone. And it should be back here inside of the vacuum hose. And there it is. That is the quickest way I found to pull that string through there. Now we're going to tie this on the end of the cable. I don't want to tie too good of a knot because I got to get it out. So hopefully it won't come untied inside of the tube. And if I can stay out of your way, we're going to pull it through. So apparently I don't like where I tied the string. I tied it behind all the ferrules so I wouldn't lose them. That's making the end too long and I can't get it up through the hole. So I'm going to tie the string just behind the one that's crushed on the very end of the cable. Maybe that'll help. There we go. And all the ferrules are up. We'll pull this string off. Now it also has to go through this slot. And typically, where'd you go? Let me move the camera. Hang on. Typically, you want to put all the ferrules on the back side of the pedal. That's normally how they come when they're new. But before you do that, don't forget to put your rubber pedal cover and get the cable through that first. And all the ferrules. Then in the pedal, you have a hole and a slot. Put all these things through the hole. A little hard to get them all wiggled through there. And then slide the cable down the slot. And then you can work on your pedal cover. Sometimes they're a little hard to get pulled down on here. Now, we're going to try to stand this thing up so I can show you how to adjust it on the other end. That could be interesting this high in the air. I'm kind of hoping it stands up without hitting the ceiling. So this could be interesting. I'll be right back. Okay, we did get it standing up. I'm glad the engine wasn't on it. This is an oiled yoke. The end of the cable hooks on this one the same as it does the newer style. And on the arm welded to the yoke, it has a hole in it that is hooked to a slot. It's mounted in there like this. You take the cable and you stick it through the hole, and you bend it up and it can't come out of the slot. Now once you have the bottom, I hooked the bottom first, and this is how you adjust your brake. Let me get you up here a little closer. I've had a couple comments on that. Well, I can't reach my clutch pedal right now, but usually when you push your clutch in halfway, this yoke will be up here so it's level. To adjust your brake, they tell you it's supposed to be in the end of this plastic tube, there is a round boss crushed on the cable. And they tell you to measure from the end of that boss to the end of this plastic tube. I believe it's around 5/8 of an inch. I've never been able to get it that tight. I just tighten them up so they work. That's all you need. And this is how you tighten it. You have a ferrule or a tube crushed on the end of your cable. And this tube is threaded. So you just loosen up the two nuts. There's one on the top and one on the bottom. And you back the bottom one off, and as you turn the top one down, it will pull this and tighten the cable up. Right now you can see there's plenty of slack in it, so your brake is not dragging. Then you lock the bottom nut against this finger that sticks out, and it stays adjusted for you. Now this is the same setup. On the side of the chain case, this tab sticking out has a hole and a slot. You have to take the nut all the way off so it falls down. You lift this thing up. You slide the cable, the smaller part, through the slot. Then you stick the tube down through the hole, and then it can't come back out. You take the nut, slide it back up here, and start it on the tube, and then adjust this to where your brake is working. It might take a couple of times of picking it up and setting it back down, but I figure if it's in the center, so you have about the same amount of threads on the bottom as you do the top, it's pretty much where you want it. Now you'll notice my spreader bar is not the little 1/4 inch bars that come on the machines. Oh, I probably got one laying around here somewhere. Usually when you get one of these machines to work on it, these bars are all bent. How they get bent like that, it's obviously from running over something sticking up. A stump, a root, I don't know what. But as this thing bends, it pulls these fenders in, which throws the alignment off on your bushings or bearings, depending what you have, and it will make them prematurely wear out. You want to keep this bar straight. So if you tip yours up and it looks like it's bent, straighten it out with a rubber hammer the best you can, or you may have to even just take it off. To do that, you have to take a fender loose, because on the original bars, the threads stick out. I should be able to find one laying around here someplace. Here's the one that came off this machine, and it's in pretty good shape. It's not bent too bad. But like I said, the threads stick out past the shoulder that goes up against the inside the fender. So to get that out of there, you have to take a fender off. So you can slip it past the threads and then pull it out the other side. These bars I make are cut to this length, from this shoulder to this shoulder. The ends are drilled and tapped. So you can slide them in, put the stainless steel bolts in, and hopefully you're not going to bend this. Now I make these bars and I do sell them if you're interested. But if nothing else, please straighten this out. Now to interchange, to put one of these bars on and take this off, you don't have to take your fenders off. You take a hacksaw and you cut this bar in half. Then you can pull this side out this way, you can pull this side out this way, and the new one just slides in without any disassembling at all. But that is how you put on the tires and the cable. That's how I run the cable in. Sorry, it's a little rocky here. I don't have much room to move anything around. The next video, I'm going to be putting the engine on and doing some wiring. I've had a lot of people get a hold of me about safety switch issues. They're tired of the switches going bad. Can I just take them off and do away with them without causing a problem? Yes, you can. It's not a big deal to get the switches off. Actually, you don't even have to take them off. You just have to remove a couple of wires from a stud and you're done with them. But it's not a good idea if you have small children or kids that's going to be driving this thing, cutting your lawn. Mine, my old 33-inch I got out in the building that I rebuilt, it has no safety switches on it. If you were watching me do the rebuild on that machine, I went to start it to show how to wire the stator and it was in gear and it took off. That was an interesting video. So the safety switches are a good idea, actually. But like I said, if you got kids, I don't know if I would take the safety switches off. There's a simple way to check them. The worst thing is the little brain, I call it, that's inside of here that all the switches hook to. That doesn't have a lot of problems, but once in a while they do burn out and they're like 60 bucks. So a lot of guys are opting to just get rid of it and do away with all the issues. I'll show that if there's any interest in an upcoming video. But like I said, the next one is going to be dropping the engine on this thing and doing some wiring. Now on my yoke on this machine, I don't know what I did with that old one. I threw it someplace. This is where I tell people in video number 70 how to adjust their yoke spring. These are the bottom two holes. If you look close, you can see the marks from the spring right through here, and these are the top holes. To get the most tension on your clutch, you want to put the spring in the bottom hole on the bottom, and the top hole on the top. Now this machine is different. It's newer. This top bar has 5 holes in it. The bottom spring does not hook to the yoke. It goes straight back and it hooks through the back of the rear case. Right here where my finger is, the spring hooks through a slot in the back of the rear case. And mine is on the center hole. It's on the third one, and I have plenty of traction with this thing. But if I find where it's starting to slip a little because of clutch wear, I still got 2 holes I can move the spring up to get more tension. Again, all that is in video number 70 that explains all that and how that works. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the box below or send me an email, and I will be more than happy to answer them. I watch a lot of viewers on YouTube. I watch a lot of channels on YouTube, and I've sent a lot of questions to some of them, and I never get an answer. I never get an answer for a comment or an email. They don't bother doing that. In this channel, I answer every comment and every question or email I get. If I get an email from you and I answer it and you send back something like, oh, thanks for the response or thanks for the help, I'm going to reply to that. I might just say you're welcome, or I might just send a thumbs up, because on my phone, when I answer an email, it puts a check by there and the little blue dot disappears. That's how I know I answered every email. So if you send me a reply just saying thanks a lot, it worked, you're going to get an answer to that, just so I can keep track. So until next time, work safe. Don't forget to subscribe. I need your help. Have fun and keep on snapping. We'll talk to you soon. So long.